Hi guys, my name is AJ. Welcome back to AJ's Budgeting. Today we're going to get back into our Budgeting 101 series. If you didn't see the first video, I'm going to link it at the end of this video. And last week we talked about what is budgeting. And this week we're going to talk about how to start budgeting. So let's get you guys set up with our piece of paper like we did the last time, and a black marker so you guys can see. And then let's zoom in. That way you guys can see everything that I am talking about. So week 2 is how to start budgeting. So basically the gist of starting budgeting is like, what is the reason why you're doing it? Because starting a budget is basically a great step towards financial control and a peace of mind. So I'm going to break it down into some simple steps for you. I know for me, budgeting has definitely made my life more peaceful, especially when there's times that I can't save and I can only save like small amounts and I'm not adding to my sinking funds. At the end of the day, like all my bills are paid and I'm okay. So the first one is going to be kind of repetitive. It's going to be calculate your monthly income. And basically you need to determine your take-home pay. And this is after any automatic deductions you have, like a 401k, savings, insurance. But you can add those back in if you want to get your gross pay. But if you also look at your pay stub online or whatever app your workplace uses, it'll give you your gross pay and your take-home pay and list out all your deductions for you. So I do encourage you, especially if you're salary, to start looking at your pay, because sometimes it might be little things that you won't notice that went up, especially when you're salary. And then the second point for calculating your monthly income is add those side gig incomes back into your income. And this will give you a total picture of your monthly income. Mind you, for the side gigs, just make sure you subtract any taxes or business expenses before you add it into your monthly income. Number 2, choose your budgeting method. In the last video, we talked about the most common was the 50, 30, and 20 method, which to me is not realistic. So how we're going to break this down is 50% is going to go to all of your needs. This includes rent, utilities, groceries, and debt minimums. %30 is going to be for wants. This can be like dining out, entertainment, and non-essential spending. Your last one, the 20% is going to be towards savings or debt repayment. And this is payments beyond minimums. So, a little acronym to remember is ARC. So ARC. So A is for allocate. R is for reserve. And C is for commit. So you're allocating to your monthly budget to 50% of your needs. You're reserving 30% for wants to control those impulse spending, and then you're committing the other 20% towards savings and debt payoff. Like I said in the last video, I don't think the 50, 30, 20 rule method is like realistic, because I think a lot of people are living at like 70, 20, and 10, because obviously inflation has had a severe role on how much money we can save, how much debt we're accumulating just to get by, and the necessities that we do need. So that is my tidbit on that. Number 3 is to track your progress. Let me move you guys up so you can see. Let me see. Okay, number 3, track your progress. What does this mean? This means record your spending. This has been done by spreadsheets, budgeting apps, or just even my favorite, pen and paper. I have a video on my page talking about the notebook method, which I'm going to go back into that in the series for you guys. But the first thing is to record your spending. The second thing is to automate your savings. Automating your savings basically ensures your money for savings goes where it is intended. So in tracking your progress, you can record your spending if you're a spreadsheet type of person, spreadsheets, Excel, budgeting apps, or even pen and paper. That is how I started off with pen and paper. Another thing that you should do is automate your savings. This basically ensures the money that you're saving goes where it's intended to go, and that you're not allocating it more towards wants or more towards needs. But as a general rule, I do want you guys to adjust, especially when your bills adjust everything around. Do that at least monthly. If you can't do it weekly or bi-weekly, at least do it monthly. Try to be more, what's the word? It will come to me. Just make sure you're doing it. Try to be more frequent. Do it more frequently. There we go. Do it more frequently so that it builds a habit. So if you're doing it monthly, you're already forming that habit. I'm a big believer in it takes multiple times to form a habit. And then number 4 is practice. budget management. This is exactly what I was saying, budget adjustments. Revisit your budget regularly. There, that's the word I was looking for earlier. Why? Because life changes. And so you just need to adjust as needed. Have someone hold you accountable. Before there's people in my comments talking about no, because they're just going to throw it in your face. I am sorry that you have people in your life like that. But if you can't trust in anybody, because I know trusting in people would help me manage money, it can be like a very sticky situation to get into and whatnot. But what I do suggest is, and I finally have it by me, I have my personal wallet. So this is what I use to hold myself accountable throughout the week with the money that I have. Some weeks I have money left over, and then some weeks I do not. So in this wallet, I have some of like the main necessities, right? I have food, which I allocate $20 for that per week. I have gas, which I'm in California, so gas is expensive. I allocate $130 per week for that. And that's because gas is an afterthought. I didn't notice how much I was spending on gas until I actually started budgeting intentionally, looking at my statements and everything. Miscellaneous gets $10 a week. Once it gets to 40, I stop stuffing it. Personal gets $20 a week. It's just whatever I want to spend my money on. And then also another thing that I do with my personal wallet is I actually take $20 because I stuff $200 and I put it towards a savings challenge. And this is the challenge that I am working on now. As you can see, I have saved $460 so far. So this is one of the ways that I am holding myself accountable, where I'm controlling my spending, but also saving weekly, even if it's $20. And that's all I can save. I'm perfectly fine with that because I at least saved something, okay? So now we're basically done with week 2 of how to start budgeting. So let's do a little recap. So calculate your monthly income. You need to determine your take-home pay. Take-home pay and gross pay is not the same. Take-home pay does have all your deductions taken out of it. It's typically at the bottom of your pay stub. Add any side gigs back into your income, but once you do that, make sure you take out any taxes or business expenses before doing so. Number 2, choose a budgeting method. The most common method is 50% to needs, 30% to want, and 20% to savings. But realistically, I think the most common in budget method for 2024, especially since COVID and inflation, is 70% to needs, 20% to wants, and 10% to savings, because we're in a debt building age right now, which is so unfortunate. And how this is broken down into ARC. So A is for allocate, and you're going to allocate 50% of your needs, and that's going to be rent, utilities, groceries, and debt minimums. R is for reserve, and we're going to reserve 30% for wants, for dining out, entertainment, non-essential spending. C is for commit, and we're committing to saving 20% for savings or debt repayment, and these are payments beyond the minimum for debt. Number 3 is to track your progress. Record your spending. You can use a spreadsheet, budgeting apps, or even a notebook, pen and paper. That's how I started, and I do recommend that, especially if you don't have the funds to be thrown around. And then automate your savings. This basically ensures that the money that you're trying to save is going where it needs to go and not where you want it to go. because impulse spending can happen, especially when you see you have extra money. So let's have those savings automated. And lastly, number 4, practice budget management. It's all about budget adjustments. You can do these monthly, which I recommend. Some people do them weekly, bi-weekly, quarterly, yearly, but I do recommend monthly, because if something is throwing you off, for me, example, I had a really bad month in March, and then it carried into April, and then May, it's like slowly like trickling down, but I knew it was coming because of my budget adjustment that I made in March. And then lastly, you can have someone hold you accountable, but make sure they're in your protective space and they're not going to throw it in your face, because it's one thing to help and it's one thing to make you feel like crap. So find somebody that you can trust and hold you accountable. If not, do like I said earlier and get a personal wallet, and that will hold you accountable through the week. You can get a little 8-8 like I have, or this is 8-8 or 8-9, one of those, or you can get an A7, or you can get an A6. It depends on your preference, and they have them like wallet sizes too. And then lastly, just remember that a budget is a magic, but it will empower you to make informed financial decisions. By following these steps, you will gain more control over your money and reduce the stress. And I can vouch for that, guys. So I know in my last video, I was talking about trying to make this a PDF, but what I'm gonna do moving forward is, I still haven't figured that out yet. I am going to put this on my community post page, all the rules that I broke down and talked about, especially in the last video. I'm gonna put that on there after I get done recording this. And then when this video is released, it's gonna be on the community page as well. But if you guys like this video, go ahead and share it with a friend. And if you're interested in starting to budget, I am going to be posting a video like this every week. And as always, guys, happy savings.